Hey, in this video I'm going to reveal the 80-20 rule for long-lasting patient results, reviews, referrals and a reputation as the go-to therapist. So as always, don't forget to subscribe, click on the icon below and we'll give you exclusive first access to weekly content that helps you become the go-to therapist and ultimately build that go-to clinic. So if you don't know me, my name is David Sullivan. I've worked in professional sport for over 13 years alongside that building a go-to clinic where my therapists in my clinic have that go-to therapist reputation now so that we can continue to grow even while I'm away in this picture here in Japan into 2019 World Cup for over 12 weeks, or in Australia in 2017 when I was with England Rugby League for the Rugby League World Cup. I've been able to go away for weeks at a time and ultimately the clinic still being able to grow because we have that go-to therapist reputation for each therapist in my clinic. And that all starts at working smarter, not harder. And how we do that is all my therapists follow the 80-20 rule. So we spend 20% of our time desensitizing the symptoms, but we spend 80% of our time desensitize what we would call the true stressors, and then ultimately giving them a graded exposure back to low tolerance. So that word low tolerance is very, very important. So for example, with someone like with knee pain, we might hypothesize that, okay, you're getting anterior knee pain because maybe the rest of the tissues aren't maybe doing enough. So when your foot hits the floor, when you're running, maybe you're sinking a little bit, you're eccentrically loading more through the quads. That force has to go down to the tendon along with adjacent tissues, but a lot of it's going towards the tendon, and then that joint is getting a little bit unhappy. So our approach would be 20% of our time and attention would be on getting that knee joint to settle down, respecting pathology, but 80% of our time, attention and energy is focused on getting the rest of the muscles to do their job. So you can see here this study by Dorn et al. In 2012 that when that foot hits the floor, we want the soleus and the vasti to work well together. Okay, so then we also want a lot of muscle activation from the hamstrings as well. So you can see they have to take 2 times the body weight, soleus has to take 6 times the body weight, vastus is taking 4 times the body weight, and then the gastro as well is going to do a bit of work as well. So you can see here 1.94. So between the two of them, you can see that we really want that soleus to do its job. So the soleus has to do a lot of work as that foot hits the floor. If that's not doing its job, then maybe the vasti is going to do a little bit more. And you can see here with these hopping progressions, really interesting study here from Manier et al. Of muscle contributions to tibiofemoral shear forces during drop landing. You can see this balance that needs to happen. So as that foot hits the floor, we want that soleus to manage posterior shear forces, okay, and then we want, or that's going to give a posterior shear force, so it's going to manage anterior shear forces, protect the ACL, and we want the quadricep and the gastro to be managing the posterior shear forces. Okay, so that's going to be giving an anterior shear force. So as that foot hits the floor, we want that balance around the knee between the soleus, the hamstrings, okay, and the gastro. So that first 25% to 50% of landing, especially the first 25%, there's that balance between soleus and quads and gastro and hamstrings, okay, and especially the medial hamstrings as well. Okay, so our approach for someone with knee pain would be, right, let's just massage the quads, soft tissue stretching if you don't use manual therapy, whatever you're using, okay, and then let's get everything else doing its job. Okay, so that's the approach. And then as we progress the patient, we want everything to do its job, including the hip. And you can see here as well with sidestepping. So again, hopping, running, sidestepping, all these high-level rehab activities, everything needs to be doing its job. You can see the importance of that soleus and those hamstrings again during the first phase of stance when that foot hits the floor. Okay, so ultimately, we want to get all of these things doing their job. So as I said, the soleus is the wife, the hamstring are the kids, the husband is the glutes. And I'm never going to have an easy life unless my wife and my kids are happy. Okay, said another way, the soleus is the king, hamstrings are the queen, and the glutes are the prince. Okay, so again, the king is the main man or woman. Soleus is the muscle there that we need to get right to give the glute an opportunity to do work. Okay, so again, we want to go right. let's use the 80-20 rule, where we want everything to do its job, but we want it to do its job at low levels of low tolerance and then high levels of low tolerance. So again, there's going to be different ground reaction forces from doing a squat and a lunge in the safety of the clinic to being out in the roads with uneven surfaces and chaos. So we ultimately need to get everything doing its job, but we want to bridge that gap from where they are now to where they want to get back to. Okay, so if this is making sense so far, just pop a yes in the comments, followed by your biggest takeaways so far, to help you make sense of this, along with what you're going to implement in the clinic. Okay, because again, I think it's very important not just to listen to this, but actually process the information and get really clear on how you're going to implement this so that you can become that go-to therapist. Okay, so ultimately we want to bridge that gap, and we want to have these safety nets also to make sure that these muscles, such as the soleus, such as the hamstrings, they can tolerate high levels of force, okay? And they can tolerate high levels of ground reaction forces at the appropriate levels so that they're safe to increase their load tolerance in standing exercises and also running progressions, okay? So again, how we do that in the mentorship, the go-to therapist mentorship, is again, we'll build in these co-contractions, then we'll start to increase the speed of movement, then we'll start to add a little bit of chaos. Okay, so the hopping progressions here will be a safety net, and we also have a soleus hamstring low tolerance test here. So if they can't pass that, we're not going to get them to standing. If they can't do the hopping progressions and manage their base of support, and they can't do the hopping progressions without flaring up or without getting reactions, then we know that they're not ready to run. If they can do all of this stuff, then we know they're safe to progress. So we take the emotion out of the decision making. Okay, and ultimately what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are giving the nervous system the appropriate levels of low tolerance at the appropriate levels that the person has to deal with in real life. So we're not just giving them exercises that are nice and safe here and they feel good leaving the clinic, but then lo and behold, they come back next week and the pain's returned again. We need to bridge that gap, and we need to actually give them exercises that build confidence and then get them back to, as Louis Gifford says, thoughtless, fearless movement. In order to do that, you need the 8 pillars of the go-to therapist. You need the really good communication skills, solid subjective assessment, really understand the patient's story, where they want to get back to, make sense of the objective assessment, communicate the problem and the solution to the patient, design that plan to bridge the gap from where they are now to where they want to get to, hands-on treatment to settle symptoms quickly, and then most importantly, we need that graded exposure rehab progressions to bridge that gap from the low level to high level, develop high levels of tension, and then really start to build that resilience and robustness in the pillar 8. Okay, so if you want to know more about this, if you want to know how to do this 80-20 rule with an upper limb injury, then head over to go-to-physio.com/free, and for a limited time you can have 14 days access to my upper limb shoulder return to play course. Okay, so this usually we sell this online for £147. You can, for 14 days, we're giving this away for a limited time. You can have access to this for 14 days if you head over to go-to-physio.com/free. Okay, so I'll see you on the next video. As always, pop your comments below. Let me know your biggest takeaways on what you're going to implement tomorrow to help you become the go-to therapist and build a team of go-to therapists so that you can have the go-to clinic in your town.